Welcome to this video on Pfizer COVID-19 vaccination for 5 to 11-year-olds. How does COVID-19 affect our children? Generally, children and adolescents have much milder symptoms from COVID-19 infection compared to adults. A recent study showed about 3% of cases become severe. Common symptoms in children include fever, fatigue, a cough, and tummy issues. Many kids will have no symptoms at all, but they can still spread the virus. And a recent study showed that children 5 years or under spread the virus the most. Cases can become severe due to complications such as pneumonia, which is a secondary infection of the lungs. Severe cases are much more common in children with underlying health issues such as obesity, prematurity if they're under 2 years of age, disabilities, and chronic diseases. And recent studies have shown that children can also get long COVID, which are long-term health effects after the virus has left the body. These can include things like neurological problems such as anxiety and depression, as well as digestive issues and breathlessness. There is also another rare potential complication in children called multisystem inflammatory syndrome. This can affect children around 4 weeks after COVID infection, and it's possible that infection may have been mild or had no symptoms at all. It is most common in 8 to 9-year-olds, but can affect children either side of this age group. It can also be life-threatening. It's when the major organs of the body become inflamed. It's important to contact your doctor if your child has an ongoing fever for 3 days and is unwell, or has 5 days of unexplained fever. Many conditions can cause similar symptoms and it needs a proper medical diagnosis. It's important to catch it early because then it's fully treatable, but if it's not treated in time, it can be lethal. What is in the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children? The vaccine contains 4 major components. There are lipids to help protect the vaccine and help get it in the right part of the body to make protection. There are salts to help the vaccine match our body's pH. There are sugars to protect the vaccine during shipping, freezing, and thawing. And there is the mRNA, or the genetic instructions to make the spike protein. This is the part that helps train our immune system to recognize and kill the virus before it makes us sick. How does the Pfizer vaccine work? The virus has RNA inside. These are the genetic instructions for how to make the virus. On the outside, we have the spike protein. This spike protein helps the virus to attach to our cells to get inside and make us sick. So we know that if we block the spike protein, the virus can't get inside and it can't make us sick. And this is how the vaccine works. The vaccine has the mRNA for just the spike protein and nothing else. There is no virus in the vaccine. When we are injected with the vaccine, our body makes the spike protein. Our immune system immediately recognizes the spike protein as a foreign invader, and we have an immune response. Part of this immune response is to have a memory, so that when we see the real virus, our immune system is trained to respond quickly, and we can kill the virus before it makes us sick. Clinical trials have shown that 2 doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine will protect our children from COVID-19. What are the vaccine side effects for 5 to 11-year-old children? The most common side effects in children after vaccination are a sore arm, a headache, and fatigue. These are all just signs that the immunity is working to make protection and will pass within a couple of days. What about myocarditis in 5 to 11-year-olds? Myocarditis is inflammation of the heart muscle, while pericarditis is inflammation of the sac surrounding the heart. It's important to know that viral infection is the most common cause of myocarditis and pericarditis. There is a higher risk in young men, while under 16s are 35 times more likely to get myocarditis from COVID compared to uninfected kids. Symptoms include sharp chest pain, heart flutters, a pounding heart, and shortness of breath. Treatment can include rest, limiting fluid and salt, some medicines, and limiting exercise. After Pfizer vaccination in 5 to 11-year-olds, there were no cases of myocarditis reported in clinical trials. Even after almost 9 million doses were administered to children in the United States, there were only 11 verified cases of myocarditis, which were all extremely mild. They got better with care and rest, most resolved by themselves, and there were no deaths from myocarditis in this age group. So the important message is the risk of myocarditis is much higher from COVID-19 infection compared to the Pfizer vaccine. How do we know the vaccine is safe for our children? There have been clinical trials for the Pfizer mRNA vaccine in 5 to 11-year-olds. The phase 1 trial looked at the best dose for children, and they found that a third of the adult dose was safe and the best one for the immune response. The phase 2 and 3 clinical trials looked at just over 2,000 children. 2/3 had 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine 3 weeks apart, and a third of children had 2 placebo doses, so they didn't receive the vaccine. The results in the vaccinated children were excellent. There were no serious side effects and good levels of protection in around 91% of children. Vaccine-related side effects were all very mild. A sore arm, tiredness, and a headache the most common. This vaccine is now FDA and New Zealand MedSafe approved. These are medicine safety organisations that will keep monitoring the safety over time. And since then, many millions of 5 to 11-year-olds have been safely vaccinated with Pfizer worldwide to show that it's safe. In the US, almost 9 million doses have already been given, and serious side effects have been shown to be extremely rare, with fever and fainting the most common, and no deaths from the vaccine in children. What about for our babies and toddlers? So as of the 19th of January 2022, there are ongoing clinical trials for 6-month-olds to 4-year-olds using an even lower dose, which is 1/10 of the adult dose, and they're looking at 2 to 3 doses. Initial results have shown that this dose is safe for all of this age group. The vaccine protected the 6-month-old to 2-year-olds very well against COVID-19. But it did find that the 3 to 4-year-old kids were not as well protected, so they're currently trialling a 3rd shot. The results are expected very soon, and it will be available in 2022 if safety and protection results are similar. What about long-term effects? It's important to know that mRNA vaccines have been studied for decades. There have been no long-term safety issues despite many clinical trials that started in the 2000s. All parts of the vaccine break down very quickly in the body, so there are no lasting effects. And it's important to know that mRNA cannot change your DNA. Any long-term effects of any vaccine developed over time have been detected within a few months, whereas the Pfizer mRNA vaccine has been around for much longer and no long-term effects have been detected. What else can we do to protect our tamariki from COVID-19? We can make sure that all adults around our children are vaccinated against COVID-19. We can teach our children to wash their hands properly, show them how to sneeze or cough into their elbow, and always keep them home if they are unwell. If they are old enough, we can show them how to wear a mask properly, put it on and take it off with clean hands, and make sure the mask fully covers their nose and mouth. Answer all of their questions as best you can to reassure them with information from good sources. And make sure that outside your immediate family, you keep your distance from others. Vaccination against COVID-19 adds another layer of protection for our children against the virus. Prevention is the best way to keep our children safe. I'd like to thank you all for listening.